Welcome back to the Profits of IT. I'm your host, Jim Punzenberger, creator of the ManagedProspectingSystem.com. Most MSPs hit a wall at some point, referrals dry up, word of mouth slows down. You're stuck in a feast or famine cycle. 1 month you're busy, the next month you're wondering where the leads went. That is why I built the Managed Prospecting System to help IT providers escape the referral plateau and generate consistent, predictable opportunities. If you're an MSP struggling with marketing, check out ManagedProspectingSystem.com after the show. Now, today's guest knows a lot about building a business the right way. He's the owner of Ask Erik Computer Services in Lane County, Oregon. Erik has grown his business entirely through hard work and reputation, competing against much larger MSPs, all while putting cybersecurity at the front of the conversation and not forgetting about AI. Erik, welcome to the show. Please say hi to the audience.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Jim, for having me, and I hope your listeners get something of value during our conversation today.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure I will also. So, one thing I always like to bring in is a truth bomb, something SMB owners need to hear often but don't commonly hear. What would you say is the biggest misconception you see around IT and cybersecurity?
Well, I would say that the biggest truth bomb is that people see IT people as handymen, and we do much more than that. We actually are part of their operational everyday operations. And until they realize that, they're going to have trouble because we have to manage their risk. And in order to manage risk, we have to understand how their operation operates. We have to understand what their goals are, and we need to put a dollar value on that. A lot of times, business owners, when I ask them what their annual revenue is, they think it's a really odd question for an IT guy to be asking. And I basically explained to them that I'm a strategic partner on their side. I'm on their tech team. And basically, if we know how much revenue they bring in, we can properly protect the risk. And there's no such thing as complete saving somebody from an attack, but we can reduce their risk and we can put in multiple layers of security that will make the hackers hopefully go on to the next person.
That makes sense. So, what's one piece of conventional wisdom that makes you roll your eyes?
I would say knowing how to put myself in the customer's shoes. Whenever I try to onboard a new client, it's important to know what they expect and what they want. And one of the questions I ask them is, why is it that your current IT company isn't continuing with you? And usually it's because they haven't properly communicated with them what their needs are. And so before I take on a client, it's very important that we do a discovery meeting and we find out everything we can about them and what works and what doesn't work. And it's more than just hiring somebody off the street. It's like your CPA and your bookkeeper. The IT people have intimate knowledge of your infrastructure and they have your passwords, most of them in a vault, hopefully. And they basically have your livelihood in their hands. So it's a special relationship. And a lot of folks see IT as a cost, but really, if IT is put in there properly, it can actually be a revenue generating opportunity and it can be an investment in their company rather than a line item just to have to pay.
Got it. So, what would you say is one thing that business owners tend to do that overcomplicates something that should actually be really simple?
They try to make changes on their own without talking to IT. Um, from hiring to buying new equipment. One of the most important things to do is for HR to communicate with IT if there's a new hire or there's a termination, and not an hour before the fact, but days before, so they can be prepared to turn off access or give access if it's a new onboarding. A lot of times, companies think that they're going to save money by buying a piece of hardware on sale and or software for that matter as well. I'm seeing that right now with a lot of AI tools, and people are buying the wrong things, and then IT has to deal with their bad decisions.
So, it'd be a lot simpler just to talk to IT first.
It's very simple to do because any IT person would love to have that conversation.
That makes lots of sense. So, you've got a real gift for translating technical complexity into plain English. How did you develop this ability?
Well, it's really interesting. I'm a big Star Wars fan, like a lot of people. And when people start talking tech and you're not a tech, it's like R2D2. You get this, and it doesn't really mean anything unless you're C3PO. So I learned early on when you see a glazed look come over somebody's eyes, you need to take a step back and you need to put yourself in their shoes because at the end of the day, they really want their problem solved. It doesn't matter what tool you're using to do it. It doesn't matter what technology you're using to do it. They just want their problem solved and they want to be able to generate revenue and fulfill whatever it is that their goals are.
So, any tips if somebody wanted to develop this trait themselves?
Try to listen more and talk less and ask questions that require more than a yes or no answer. Um, things like you might want to ask somebody, so what exciting new projects are you working on? Instead of, hello, how's your day going? And if you can engage with your customers and just be human about it, you can get a lot of really great information. And you know, customers are people, and they just want to be heard. And so if you're constantly just trying to speak all of the time and you're not really good at listening, which is a skill that's learned because it's really easy to want to continue talking all the time, and especially text because they have a lot on their mind and they feel it's important to get things across, but the customers really don't want to know about the technology. And if they really do, they'll come back and they'll ask you.
That makes a lot of sense too. So, I know you've been working on some exciting projects right now. I thought I heard something about you helping local businesses in Oregon with AI and using it safely and effectively. Care to expand more on that?
Yeah, well, what we're doing is we're having conversations. Everybody wants to talk about AI, and there's all these tools out there, and everyone agrees that AI isn't the future, it's now, and they just don't know how to get into it, how to get into it safely, what tools they should be using. So, the first thing that we like to do is basically have a discovery call, and we have an AI assessment that we give to see if somebody's really ready to start using AI in their organization. And then if they are, we start small little pilot programs. We go through each department and we find out specific problems in that department. Maybe they may be doing a lot of manual tasks that we might be able to automate. Maybe they don't have a large staff and they need help with crafting documentation and policies and things like that. AI can be really great for that. And we're showing people how to use AI internally with local LLMs and keeping the information off of being online so that everything's stored locally on a computer that's completely cut off from the internet. And then they can bring data in from other computers and then they can bring it on that local machine, but that local machine won't be sharing anything anywhere else. And that's one way to keep it secure. Or if you have an enterprise grade package like Microsoft Copilot, they have security built in. You do need to go into the back end and do a lot of configuration. However, it's not just plug and play. You want to make sure that whatever it is that you're sharing is totally private. And it's a good idea not to share certain things on there that you wouldn't want to get out there.
Got it. Any other tips related to the AI?
It's not meant to replace employees. It's meant to help them foster their own thoughts and make them better. I use AI primarily not so much for content generation and image creation, but really to make me a better strategic thinker. And I have it ask me questions based on questions that I ask it to make sure that I am on the right track and I'm challenging myself. And I use it often to make sure that I'm not having gaps in my processes and what it is that I do. And a lot of times it will identify things that I hadn't thought of before, or it will give me a different light on ways to improve my current processes.
That sounds really valuable. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
Well, I think it's really important. IT is such a great tool when it's being used properly within an organization. And uh, when you become an IT partner with someone, I hope that they really value what it is that you bring to the table for them because you have their best interests in mind. And everybody is conscious of cost, but at the same time, it's important to pay someone fairly for their knowledge and their services. And by doing that, you'll get the best in both worlds. And I think that's really important. And it's also important for IT providers not to charge too little because then they won't be able to scale. They won't be able to pay people a living wage, and they won't be able to provide the service that the customer really deserves because it's expensive to run an operation in today's world.
And if somebody, a small business owner or executive in Oregon, would like to reach out to you and get more information, what would be the best way or ways to do so?
Well, the best way they can either email me at Erik, E-R-I-K, at Ask Erik, ASKERIK.com, or go to my website, askerik.com, ASKERIK.com, or they can just give me a call at 541-359-3111.
Well, we'll include that information in the show notes too, so check the notes if you're looking for it. Thank you, Erik, for sharing today your insights. It's been wonderful having you on.
You're welcome.
And
Pleasure to be here.
you've made it clear that small businesses aren't too small for IT security and AI. Thank you for simplifying the conversation in a way that's easy and gets results. And if you're an MSP or IT provider listening and would like to learn more about using managed prospecting system to turn cold outreach warm, check out managedprospectingsystem.com. And until next time, stay hydrated and caffeinated.